ask you about, I've been talking and thinking, after the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington, the 50th anniversary of Four Little Girls, about leaders, in especially African-American leaders. Who are they? Where do you see, do we need one? Do we need leaders in the same sense that we needed a Dr. King or a Bayard Rustin or a James Baldwin? Where do you see our leadership now?
Do we need leaders? That's a question that has been being asked for decades and generations. And on every occasion, they've risen to leaders. Our leaders come from every realm of society. There was Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and all the members of the NAACP. But throughout history and the Civil Rights Movement, we've had several leaders come from the field of entertainment as well, which took African Americans years to gain entrance to. This is the African American endeavor to enter entertainment. Stereotypes existed of African American actors, not to mention all the restrictions put on black singers, comedians, and athletes too. However, talented black performers managed to transcend and transform their roles to put out a particular image or message relevant to the history and economy of America's changing environment at that time. There were several figures in drama pertaining to the African American. The Tom figure prominently used in early Hollywood films was portrayed as the good Negro. His characteristics would be passive, well-behaved, and loyal, and certainly would not do anything to contradict his white master. However, at the time, for the first decades of the 20th century, white actors with painted faces would portray black actors and black characters as they were considered at that time to be unqualified to take on the role. Hence the origination of blackface. The Coen figures were characters which had a comedic feel and were seen in and out of trouble, trading on ugly stereotypes such as being lazy or eating fried chicken. In the late 1920s, as the silent era was dying and pictures of sound were starting to become more popular, Stephen Fetchit, born Lincoln Perry, came to Hollywood becoming a star. His characters would embody and depict the shuffling African American stereotype. An inarticulate man who would be known as a sidekick figure, but always a scene stealer. Later in his life, he joined Muhammad Ali's entourage rather than finish his acting career. The mulatto was an African American woman who had straight hair and appealed white, but had genetic traces of Negro blood. Within this category, actresses were known as exotic and sometimes sexual objects, often suffering racial humiliation. In the 1930s, Freddie Washington became one of the first actresses to be trapped by the duality of race, both on scene and in real. When she appeared in Imitation of Life in 1934, the obsession with Washington's race practically defined her shot to become an actress her whole career. Lena Horne was the first actress of mixed race to be glamorized. However, her characters would usually not be part of the plot lines of the early films she acted in, and often she would have crucial scenes cut out from her script. The 1930s also saw the introduction of Dorothy Dandridge, considered to be one of the most beautiful women in the world at that time. She was a childhood actress in Hollywood and later nominated for an Academy Award for Carmen Jones in 1954. While often pigeonholed because of her beauty, Dandridge was also a talented performer whose career was hindered by racial attitudes of the era. Now, the Mammy type actress is probably the best exemplified by the unforgettable Hattie McDaniel, who portrayed the maid in the Academy Award-winning Gone with the Wind in 1939. Her character Mammy, serving as the name of the archetype, was assertive, outspoken, gave orders with her booming voice, and expressed herself differently, and was seen as an actress coming from a real place. This, in fact, won McDaniel the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress, the first Black American to win the Oscar. And last, but definitely not least, the buck was perhaps the ugliest stereotype. These were characters who were tough, assertive, sexual, and often violent black men, which played on the deepest seated racial bigotry, mostly at the hands of white male filmmakers. While African American females would continue to play domestic servants for decades to come, The civil rights era would slowly shift cinematic attitudes as well as those on the television. But entertainers like Harry Belafonte and
Temptations and get ready. Hey, don't go away. I want you to come back and do the things you do, all right? And don't you go away, because on Chivalry next up, Mr. Mel Carter and Love Is All We Need.
The Temptations before and after them. Other black leaders in entertainment, understanding their responsibilities to the community, made several gains in civil rights. As a singing and acting legend, the great Paul Robeson is equally known for his political activism in the 40s. He was an early advocate for civil rights, fighting against lynching and job voting discrimination. Robeson broke Major League Baseball's long-standing color barrier when he joined the Brooklyn Dodgers. After his retirement in 1957, the Baseball Hall of Fame served on the board of the NAACP and co-founded the Freedom National Bank, a black-owned and operated commercial bank based in Harlem, New York. Pioneering poet, playwright, and novelist of the Harlem Renaissance, Lincoln Hughes was also an early civil rights activist using his art to promote black pride 40 years before the Black Power movement and railed against racial justice. First black leading man of film, Sidney Poitier was more shaped by the civil rights movement than his politics. During the 60s, fight for equality, the acting legend became the first personification of black America's dignity in mainstream cinema. In 1963, Poitier became the first black man to win a Best Actor Oscar. It was clear that Hollywood always still has direct influence on cinema around the world through the eyes of the movies and media, whether it be via truth, myths, or misconceptions, and sometimes these would be interpreted as a genuine statement that actual experiences of African Americans here in the U.S. Stereotypes and fixed images on African Americans were present up until 1949 and for some time after. The black performers were able to take control of their stereotypical roles and turn them around, recreate them, create their own genres and their own style. And as you can see, the new generations have upheld those standards, keeping in mind the rights they now have to entertain and the following responsibilities.
Look, we all witnessed the sweat rolling down Miss Liberty's head. She knows the sleeping giant is no longer sleeping dead. Oh, what a fulfillment of prophecy. Let us teach the children freedom's never been free.